Je tak start lagi je. Dah start ke ni? Okay, so betul lah. Okay, lupa. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dan good apa lah sekarang? Tak nak lah good evening, good afternoon lah. Good evening rasa macam petang sangat. Good afternoon everyone. Good morning lah rasa macam awal pagi. Good morning. Sabar je lah. Singit apa. Alright, so don't forget to key in for your attendance today. So semua orang sila key in attendance sekarang. Key in. Waalaikumsalam Miss. Aisyah tangan kena sini sikit. Assalamualaikum. Sekejap, 4-3 minit kita start lah. 4-3 minit kita start, 4-5 minit, sorry. Waalaikumsalam, dah key in. Alhamdulillah. Hai. So we got another 2 minutes. We are still waiting. We are supposed to have around 100 plus. So let us wait for the others to come in. Meanwhile, semua orang yang berada di sini, how are you? Are you guys doing good? Sihat ke? Good. Alright, good to hear that. Waalaikumsalam Syafiqah. So please key in your attendance everyone. Alhamdulillah sihat. Miss sihat. Extra sihat. Terlebih sihat. Sama lah. Saya pun macam terlebih sihat. Tiba-tiba je aku rasa macam nervous pula kalau nak balik. Masa gambar nampak macam kurus je kat tiba-tiba nampak depan mata. Hok! Sabar je lah. Okay, 45 minit dah. 36, 37. Okay, tak apalah. Okay, so now let us start. I think kita start lah, nanti habis lambat pula. Okay, so now this is the last lecture for chapter 2. So we are going to continue from last time. So last time we learned about absolute values. So we have learned how to solve absolute equations and some absolute inequalities. But I think last time we only have some linear function. So today we are going to proceed to the other inequalities, absolute inequalities. Okay, so now next. Okay, so at the end of the lesson, you should be able to solve absolute inequalities of the form. So for the second one, we are going to have modulus on the left hand side and modulus on the right hand side. So we have two modulus. So modulus of ax plus b greater than or less than the modulus of cx plus d. So do remember, if we have two modulus, the way we are going to solve this is that we are going to use squaring both sides. So yang ni kita akan pakai squaring both sides lah sebab kita ada modulus on both sides. So now we are going to look at ax plus b over cx plus d inside the modulus. So this is a rational function less than some constant, and then a quadratic function ax squared plus bx plus c, the modulus of that less than a constant d. So we can also apply to less than equal, and greater than equal. Or greater than. Greater than saja pun boleh jugalah. Okay, next. Inequality of absolute value, so both side modulus. So for example, solve the modulus of x minus 3 greater than or equal to the modulus of 2x plus 5. So we have modulus on both sides of the inequality. So left hand side we have modulus, right hand side we also have modulus. So the way we solve them is that we are going to square both sides. So we are going to apply squaring both sides. So the bracket of minus 3 square greater than or equal to 2x plus 5 with a square. So once you put bracket with a square, next we got to expand them, of course. So expanding the left hand side and right hand side. Apa yang ni, dia depends lah. You can also use expanding left hand side and right hand side, or you can also use something like this. If we have a square minus b square, that is actually a plus b times with a minus b. So nak pakai yang ni pun boleh, or you can actually expand the left hand side and right hand side. So either one. Tapi yang ni saya ajar teknik yang ni sikit lah, yang up sikit. Okay, so this one. This one x minus 3, so this one is a, 2x plus 5, so this is b. So we are going to have a plus b, so this is a plus b, and then a minus with b. So a minus b. So this is greater than or equal to 0. So nak guna cara ni boleh, ataupun awak nak expand macam biasa, tarik semua ke sebelah kiri, dan factorize pun boleh. Okay, so now we are going to simplify the term inside the bracket. So we are going to get 3x plus 2, negative x, negative 8 greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so now we get rid of the negative sign inside of the negative x and negative 8. So we times everything with negative 1. So we are going to get x plus 8. However, you need to flip the inequality sign because we are multiplying with some negative number. So over here, we multiply with negative 1. So that is why we need to flip the inequality sign. So lagi sekali saya ulang, when you expand them, you can actually, when you square them, you can actually expand them, bring everything to the left, and then you can actually factorize them. So last kali akan dapat jawapan yang sama macam ni jugalah. Okay, so now I have 3x plus 2, x plus 8 less than or equal to 0. So what you can do is that we can actually hash the quadratic graph. So we want something to be less than 0. So that means we are looking at the area below the x-axis. And then since we do have the equal sign over here, therefore it should be a dense circle at negative 8 and a dense circle at negative 2 over 3 as well. So dense, dense. And then since we want something that is less than 0, it should be the area below the x-axis. So this is the area below the x-axis. Therefore, the final answer for this is simply negative 8 up until negative 2 over 3. So now we got to use the square bracket because we do have the equal sign at negative 8 and negative 2 over 3. So ini ada dense circle kat sini, ada dense circle kat sini. So makanya kita kena pakai square bracket lah. At negative 8 and negative 2 over 3. Okay, so done with this, let us proceed to the next one. Oh, yang ni dia solution set pula. Okay, so x such that x in between negative 8 and negative 2 over 3. So ini solution set. Atas ni kita panggil dia sebagai solution interval. So normally if the question didn't really say whether is it solution set or solution interval, we can give them either one. So boleh dua-dua boleh bagilah. Nak bagi solution set boleh, nak bagi solution interval pun boleh. Either one. Okay, next. So we got to solve the modulus of x minus 2 less than the modulus of 2x plus 3. So this time it's your turn, of course. So I'll give you around 3 minutes. Is that enough 3 minutes for you to try them? So saya bagi masa dalam 3 minit ke 4 minit? 4 minit lah, lama sikit. 4 minit untuk jawab. Later on we'll see the answer. So boleh cuba Nampak modulus on both sides. What do you need to do? Then solve sampai dapat X berapa. Oh hi. Kau tidak nama dia apa tadi? Hari tu invention Dah tukar nama dah. Square. Yes, we got to square both sides. Hari tu saya cakap pasal spam, sungguh dapat mesej spam. Betul lah, inventor something. Siapa yang tak key in attendance lagi, jangan lupa key in. Saya tak ada. Okay. Ada 1 minit lagi. Oh, ada 86 je yang isi. Siapa yang tak isi lagi ni? Oh, ramai ni. Ada 27 orang lagi tak isi. Tolong isi kehadiran. Jangan report. Sabar je lah. Tak report. Oh, Alia dapat dah. Okay, sekejap kita check jawapan. Okay, so now we have modulus on both sides of the inequality. So the first thing that we should do is that we have to square both sides. Okay, so squaring both sides, so you can expand them or you can bring it to the left just like what I did earlier. So tengoklah. So yang ni saya bawa ke kiri and then saya guna A plus B, A minus B lah. Okay, so A square minus B square, A plus B, A minus B. So it will become X minus 2. So this is A to X plus B, to X plus 3, that is B. X minus 2 is A to X plus 3, that is B. So A plus B, A minus B less than 0. So simplify them a little bit. We are going to get 3x plus 1 multiply with negative x, negative 5 less than 0. So normally for me, I don't like having negative as the coefficient of x because otherwise I have to draw a set graph. So in maths, I love to be happy. So normally I don't like something with negative. So let us times with negative 1. So multiply with negative 1, we are going to get 3x plus 1. Multiply with x plus 5 greater than 0. So instead of having less than, I'm having positive or greater than now because I times with negative 1. So multiplying with negative 1, don't forget to flip the sign. And then we're going to draw the graph. So this is a happy graph. So it should be negative 5, negative 1 over 3, greater than 0. So it's supposed to be above the x-axis. So it should be negative infinity up until negative 5. Union with negative 1 over 3 up until infinity, or the solution set will be x less than negative 5. Union with x greater than negative 1 over 3. So untuk siapa yang dapat jawapan tu, jangan lupa buat sini. Tahniah kat diri sendiri. Berjaya dapat jawapan. Siapa yang tak dapat, selamat mencuba untuk soalan yang berikutnya. Okay, dah eh? Right, so let us proceed with the next one. Okay, so solve the inequality. So we have the modulus of 1 over x minus 2 less than 3. So again, we are going to open the modulus sign. So we are going to use the basic definition where we have 0, 3, negative 3 because this is 3. So less than 3, so it should be somewhere in between 0 and 3, as well as 0 up until negative 3. So that distance is less than 3 as well. Okay, so now we open it. Oh, habis, tak nampak lah. Okay, so we are going to get 1 over x minus 2 in between negative 3 and 3. So you're going to separate them into two. The first one is 1 over x minus 2 greater than negative 3. And another one is 1 over x minus 2 less than 3. So we will solve one on the left hand side and this is on the right hand side. So yang ni saya tulis lah, left hand side, right hand side. Because otherwise you might not remember which one is left and right. So we are going to have negative on the left hand side and then another one on the right hand side. Okay, so now let us solve one side of it first. So let us solve the left hand side. So yang right hand side tu tinggal dulu. We're gonna solve the left hand side. So we are having something with 1 over x minus 2 greater than negative 3. So this is a rational function. So the first step, you got to make sure that the right hand side is 0. So this is negative 3, obviously not 0. Therefore, you should bring it to the left hand side. So bring it to the left hand side. So it will become plus 3 greater than 0. And now we got to change everything into a single fraction. So change it into a single fraction. We are going to have 1 plus 3 x minus 2 over x minus 2 greater than 0. Simplify your numerator. So simplify the numerator. We are going to get 3x minus 5 over x minus 2 greater than 0. So those are the steps to solve the rational inequalities. So firstly, right hand side should be 0. So bring everything to the left hand side. Do make sure to change everything into a single fraction. And after that, we are going to continue with the number line, the real number line. So you can either solve them using the real number line or you can use table of sign. So untuk certain tutor saya, memang saya dah ajar guna table of sign lah. So siapa yang tak tahu, siapa yang bukan tutor saya dan tak tahu nak guna table of sign, boleh pergi tanya cikgu tutor sendirilah how to use table of sign. Or you can actually text me. Nak text pun boleh jugalah. Okay, so now we are going to solve them using the real number line. Okay, so 3x minus 5 over x minus 2 greater than 0. So we are going to assume first for them to be greater than 0. So 3x minus 5 greater than 0, x will be greater than 5 over 3. X minus 2 greater than 0, x will be greater than 2. So now decide who's on the left hand side, who's on the right hand side. So I think 5 over 3 is less compared to 2. So that means 2 should be on the right hand side. 5 over 3 will be on the left. Okay, so 5 over 3 on the left hand side, 2 on the right hand side. We are going to the right hand side of 5 over 3 as well as 2 going to the right hand side. Do make sure to use an empty circle for them. And then since we are assuming them to be greater than 0, so kita assume greater than 0 or positive. That means on top of the line, we are supposed to use positive. Other than that, we have to use negative. So now make a conclusion, negative over negative, that one will become positive, positive, negative, negative, positive, positive, it will become positive. Now decide the answer. So I want something to be greater than 0. Greater than 0, it simply means positive. So let us check where does it give a positive answer. So it will be left side. So nak dapat positif kena kiri dan juga kanan. So write down the answer. So it will be negative infinity up until 5 over 3 union with 2 up until infinity. Okay, so I already solved the left hand side. So now let us go to the right hand side and then we're gonna solve them to get the answer on the right side. Okay, next. So this is on the right hand side. We have 1 over x minus 2 less than 3. So do make sure the right hand side is 0. So I have to bring 3 to the left hand side. And then change everything into a single fraction. Okay, so now I give you another 2 minutes for you to try to solve them until you get the solution for this one. So saya bagi 2 minit untuk jawab. Tadi WN macam ada tulis something. Saya nampak tapi saya nak respon sebab saya nak ajar yang ni dulu. Tak pun WN awak message saya pun boleh juga kalau nak. Message dalam group boleh, message personal pun boleh jugalah. Tadi macam nampak apa tadi? Infinity. Oh, when do we have to write it in the form of negative infinity to infinity? If let's say you are doing some union and then you have to take everything from the left hand side until to the right hand side. So kita kena ambil semua nombor dalam number line kita. Masa tu kita akan tulis negative infinity to infinity lah, YN. Kalau kata you buat union and then you nampak anak panah tu kan, yang ni ke kiri semua, yang ni ke kanan semua, and then kita kena buat union. So masa tu masa kita nak pilih negative infinity to infinity lah. So real number. Oh, I see. It's okay. Tak apa. Okay, so now let us check the answer for this. So I stop at, okay, so we got to change it into a single fraction. So 1 minus 3x minus 2 over x minus 2 less than 0. So we are going to get negative 3x and then 1 plus 6. So it will become 7. So negative 3x plus 7. 7 minus 3x over x minus 2 less than 0. So now we got to do a real number line for this. Solve using the real number line, or you can use table of sign, either one. Okay, so assume 7 minus 3x greater than 0. So that means x will be less than 7 over 3. Be very careful because when you want to have your x as the subject, you are dividing by some negative number. Therefore, do make sure to flip the sign. And then for your denominator, you are going to get x minus 2 greater than 0. So it will be x greater than 2. So between 2 and 7 over 3, I know that 7 over 3 is bigger than 2. So 2 will be on the left, 7 over 3 will be on the right. Okay, so it should be less than 7 over 3. So that means one will go to the left, another one will go to the right hand side. And then since we are assuming them to be greater than 0 and greater than 0, so that means on top of the line, we should write down positive. Those without the line, it should be negative. Okay, so this is the reason why we are assuming them to be positive, because we want to write down positive on top of the line. If you assume them to be less than 0, so that means on top of your line, you should write down negative. So nak tulis simbol kat atas ni, it actually depends on this one over here. So kalau awak assume positive, kita kena tulis positif lah. Okay, so now make a conclusion for each interval. So negative, positive, negative. And I do want something that is less than 0. So I'm looking for a negative answer. So left hand side, right hand side. So the answer will be negative infinity up until 2, union with 7 over 3 up until infinity. Okay, so now if you realize what we are doing just now is that from the absolute value, so we start with an absolute value question. So this is absolute value, less than something. I can't remember what's the question is, but of course absolute value less than something, and then we have something greater than something, something less than something. So what happened is that we already solved the left hand side and right hand side. So I already have the answer for this one. So this is solution 1. This is solution 2. So once we have the answer for the left hand side, right hand side, we are going to combine them together using one number line, where we are going to either doing the union or we are going to do intersection. So this one actually depends. When you open the absolute value sign, are you using or are you using and? If you are using or, that means we are going to unite our answer on the left hand side and right hand side. If you are using and, we are going to do the intersection of the two solutions. So if I'm not mistaken, when we open them, we are using and just now, right? So let me go and check. Nak patah balik ni penat juga. Ni, naik atas. Okay. So we do see something with the word and. So that means I need to do the intersection. Balik. Okay. So now I see the word and over here. So that means I need to do the intersection. So kita kena overlap dua answer kita lah. Madam, how to know we are using or and? Okay, so when you open the absolute value sign, so let's say we have absolute value of x greater than a. When we draw our number line, so this is 0, this is a, this is negative a. Greater than a, it simply means one on the left hand side, one on the right hand side. So when we open this one, it will be x less than negative a or x greater than a. So it simply means that we are either going to have our answer on the left hand side or we are going to have our answer on the right hand side. So two different regions. So that is why we are using or. Another one is that if you have absolute value of x less than a. So when you draw your number line, this is a, negative a. So it should be somewhere in between here. Okay, so we started with x in between negative a and a. So when you want to solve them, normally it can be quite tough for us because we can have x on the left hand side, x on the right hand side, and x in the middle. Therefore, we separate them into 2 where we can have x greater than negative a, and at the same time x will be less than a. So yang ini cara baca dia memang x greater than negative a and x will be less than a. So dia mesti happen at the same time baru kita boleh letak dia dalam kedudukan macam tu. Okay, so this one you got to use the intersection. If you have the word or, you got to use the union. Okay. Yeah, are you doing good? Can you understand that? Okay, so let me proceed to the next one. Please let me know if you can understand them or not. So now I have the answer on the left hand side and right hand side. So one on the left, one on the right hand side. We actually have the word and, so that means I need to find the intersection between those two answers. Okay, so draw the number line. So the first one we have 5 over 3 up until negative infinity and 2 up until infinity. Okay, so this is the answer on the left hand side. This is the answer on the right hand side. So kalau perasan dia macam ada dua layer lah. Satu left, satu right. Okay, so now we should find the intersection between those two answers. So the intersection between them, I can see some intersection over here. And they do overlap over here as well. Okay, so that means my answer will be negative infinity up until 5 over 3 union with 7 over 3 up until infinity. So we are using union because we have two different interval. So ada dua interval yang berbeza, kita nak masukkan sekali, so kita letak union lah, or. So either left hand side or right hand side. Okay, next. So this is actually in solution set. So you can easily write down as x such that x less than 5 over 3 or x greater than 7 over 3. Okay, so now we have example 4, solve 10 minus 2x over 3x plus 1 greater than 1. Okay, so let us open the absolute value sign first. Be very careful. Okay, so absolute value of x greater than a. So this one is 0, this one is 1, this one is negative 1. Greater than 1, so it simply means on the right hand side here or on the left hand side here. So this is x less than negative a, x greater than a. So when we separate them, we are going to get 10 minus 2x over 3x plus 1 less than negative 1, or 10 minus 2x over 3x plus 1 greater than 1. So one on the left hand side and another one on the right hand side. Okay, so now this is the first inequality. Do solve them. I can spot that this is a rational function, so that means you're definitely going to do one number line for them. So use a real number line to find the solution on the left hand side. On the right hand side, this is also a rational function, so you got to use another real number line to solve them. So for this, I think I'll better to give you around 5 minutes, and then let us check whether can you get the answer on the left hand side and right hand side or not. So saya bagi 5 minit kita tengok boleh tak dapat jawapan. So 5 minutes starting from now. Hujan tu. Kan hujan. Kalau dah dapat nanti tulis dekat sebelah kanan tu, dekat live chat tu. So that saya boleh nampak. Yang dah siap. So kalau yang dah siap nanti kita boleh semak jawapan sama-sama. Kalau tak saya bagi masa sikit lah untuk awak jawab. Empat, tiga, dua, satu. Macam ada yang tak, macam semua tak dapat jawapan lagi je. Saya tambah masa dah Masa kecemasan. Minit ya. 3 minit lagi masa kecemasan. So nanti tulis dah dapat jawapan ke belum? Oh, ada seorang dah dapat jawapan. Okay, sekejap. Lagi 50 saat. Orang lain dapat dah jawapan? Awak dapat sama dengan AI ke tak? Betul ke saya panggil? Betul kot. Okay, so let's check then. So we are going to solve the left hand side first. So let us solve the left hand side. Okay, so make sure that over here this is 0. So bring it to the left hand side. So it will become positive 1. So we are going to get then minus 2x over 3x plus 1 plus 1 less than 0. And then change everything into a single fraction. So change it into a single fraction. So we are going to get x plus 11 over 3x plus 1 less than 0. So once we have x plus 1 over 3x plus 1 less than 0, so since this is a rational function, I got to use the real number line, or we can actually use the table of sign. Okay, so x plus 1 plus 1 lah. X plus 11 is greater than 0, so x greater than negative 11 and x greater than negative 1 over 3. So negative 11, negative 1 over 3. Be careful who's on the left hand side and who's on the right hand side. Okay, so we assume them to be greater than 0. So that means it should go to the right hand side and positive. Or assume greater than 0. So on top of the line is positive. So other than that, it should be negative. So make a conclusion for that. So positive, negative, positive, and then we do want something to be less than 0. So it should be a negative answer. So our final answer is negative 11, negative 1 over 3. So this is the answer for the left hand side. So this is solution 1. Okay, so we got to do the same thing for the right hand side. So now let us move. Okay, so make sure that the right hand side is 0. So bring the 1 to the left. So we got negative 1. Have a common denominator, change everything into a single fraction. So we are going to get 9 minus 5x over 3x plus 1 greater than 0. Okay, so now we got to draw the number line, or you can use table of sign, either one. Okay, so 9 minus 5x greater than 0, 3x plus 1 greater than 0. So x less than 9 over 5, x greater than negative 1 over 3. So 1 going to the left, 1 going to the right. So we are assume them to be greater than 0. So that means on top of the line, we should write down positive. Other than that, it will be negative. And then let us make a conclusion for that. Negative, positive, and negative. Okay, so we do want something to be greater than 0. So that means we are looking for some positive answer. So the positive answer for this is somewhere in between negative 1 over 3 and 9 over 5. So this is solution 2. Okay, so we have solution 1 and we have solution 2. Now let us combine them together in one number line. So we have negative 1 over 3 up until 9 over 5, union with negative 11 up until negative 1 over 3. So draw the number line. We are going to use the union for them. Okay, so now take everything below the line sebab the union. So everything below the line. So the intersect will be x, then x in between negative 11 and negative 1 over 3, or x in between negative 1 over 3 and 9 over 5. Or you can actually take negative 11, negative 1 over 3, union negative 1 over 3 up until 9 over 5. Okay, so dia union sepatutnya everything below the line. Tetapi kalau atas tak terima jawapan tu, bawah pun tak terima, Maksudnya tak ada yang boleh terima negative 1/3. So kenapa tak terima? Sebab yang answer ni kalau kita ganti nanti bahagian denominator akan dapat kosong. So denominator kalau kosong nanti dia akan jadi undefined. So ini sebab bahagian denominator lah. So kita kena reject yang negative 1/3 sebab tu dia dapat dua interval yang berbeza macam ni. Okay, so how many of you get that correct? Berapa orang jawab betul? Kat tangan. Okay, next. Okay, so we got to solve the modulus of x plus 2 over x minus 3 greater than or equal to 3. Why can't straight? So yang ni lagi sekali lah saya ulang. Kenapa tak boleh straight? Okay, so ada certain dia nak buat negative 11 until 9/5. Okay, so kenapa tak boleh straight? Sebab dekat sini dia open. Bila dia open, dia or ni maksudnya salah satu kena ada. So atas kita tak terima jawapan negatif 1/3. Bawah pun kita tak terima jawapan negatif 1/3. So bila or dia salah satu kena terima. Tapi yang ni dua-dua tak terima. So bila dua-dua tak terima kita tak boleh bubuh dia sekali lah. Dia kalau kata kat sini dance tak apa, salah satu terima. Tapi yang ni dua-dua open. So tak boleh lah. Dan satu lagi, kalau awak based on the question lah kan. Kalau awak tengok balik soalan, sekejap saya patah balik soalan sekejap. Okay. So ini soalan dia kan. So kita ada 10 minus 2x over 3x plus 1 kan, modulus. Okay, so if let's say x is equal to negative 1/3. So if you substitute into here, you are going to let your denominator equal to 0. So once you have 0 in your denominator, kita bahagi dia akan dapat undefined. So kita kena make sure kalau kata dia fraction, benda pertama kita kena buat adalah make sure x tak boleh sama dengan negative 1/3. Sebab tu kita tak boleh tulis sekali je terus. Kalau awak terus tulis negative 11, 9/5, ini maksudnya nombor ni termasuk dalam ni. So tak boleh lah. Bila kita nak reject, kita kena tulis dua bracket yang berbeza. So macam ni lah, kita tulis dua bracket yang berbeza. Negative 11, negative 1/3 union, negative 1/3 until 9/5. So dua-dua kita buat open bracket. So maksudnya kita tak terima lah jawapan negatif 1/3 tu. Okay, next. Okay, so the modulus of x plus 2 over x minus 3 greater than or equal to 3. Okay, so we are going to use the basic definition. So one will be less than or equal to negative 3, another one will be greater than or equal to 3. So again, one on the left hand side, one on the right hand side. Okay, so solving the left hand side, we are going to bring negative 3 to the left hand side and then solve them. Okay, so it will become x plus 2 over x minus 3 plus 3 less than or equal to 0. Change everything into a single fraction. So we are going to get 4x minus 7 over x minus 3 less than or equal to 0. So yang ni jangan lupa bawa ke kiri, samakan pembawah and then change it into a single fraction. So 4x minus 7 over x minus 3 less than or equal to 0. And then to solve them, you can either use the real number line or you can use table of sign, either one, real number line or table of sign. Okay, so I'm using the real number line. Okay, so we are going to assume them to be greater than or equal to 0. So x will be greater than or equal to 7/4. However, for denominator, sekejap, kenapa tiba-tiba dia jadi jadi 3x plus 1 pula ni. X minus 3 greater than 0, x greater than 3. Mesti masa kopi, lupa nak tukar. Oh, tidak. Set. Oh. Itu kan X minus 3. Okay. Sekejap saya tukar. So, this is 7 over 4. This is 3. Maaf lah ya, lupa nak tukar. Okay, so you got to change this one as well. So yang ni kena dense. Yang ni kena empty. Or should I draw it for you? Boleh lah. Sekejap saya draw lah untuk awak. Okay, sekejap. Okay, so for x minus 7 greater than or equal to 0, so x greater than or equal to 7 over 4. And then x minus 3 simply greater than 0, x greater than 3. So do make sure this is your denominator, so you shouldn't take any equal sign for this one. And then draw the number line. So this is 7 over 4. And this is 3 greater than or equal to 7 over 4. So over here, sekejap, kasih dense sikit. Okay, so we are going to the right hand side. And then greater than 3 going to the right hand side as well. So we are assuming them to be greater than 0. So that means on top of the line, it should be positive, positive, positive. Other than that, negative, 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 negative. So this answer will be positive, negative, and positive. So I do want something that is less than 0. So we are looking for a negative answer. So this one, it will give us 7 over 4 up until 3. So one close, one open. Okay, so that is for the left hand side. We are going to do the same thing on the right hand side. So sekarang yang sebelah kanan tu pula. And let us check yang ni betul ke tak saya copy. Okay. Now x plus 2 over x minus 3 greater than or equal to 3. Bring the 3 to the left hand side, so it will become negative 3. Change everything into a single fraction. And then we are going to get 11 minus 2x over x minus 3 greater than or equal to 0. So we are going to solve by using the real number line for this. So x will be less than or equal to 11 over 2. Oh, this one is correct. So x minus 3 greater than 0, x greater than 3. So draw your number line, 11 over 2 on the right hand side, 3 on the left. So 11 over 2 going to the left, 3 going to the right. And then since we have greater than 0, so that means we should write down a positive on top of the line. Other than that, it will be negative. And then make a conclusion for this, negative, positive, negative. And we do want something to be greater than or equal to 0. So I'm looking forward to a positive answer. So that means the middle one. So it will be 3 up until 11 over 2. So I do have the answer on the left hand side, one on the right hand side. So now let us combine them together in one number line. Ke yang tadi tu 7 over 4 tak? Betul lah, 7 over 4. Okay. Just in case. Salah salin. Okay, so now I got to do the union. To draw them. Okay, so now again, be careful. This one is open bracket, an empty circle. This is also an empty circle. So kalau kata kita nak buat OR, salah satu kena ambil. Tapi bila dua-dua tak ada, nombor 3 bermaksud dekat 3 kena sentiasa open. So the solution set will be x such that x will be in between 7/4 and 11/2, but x cannot be equal to 3. So nak tulis macam ni pun boleh. Ataupun you can easily write them down as 7/4, 3, Yunan, 3, 11/2. So ini solution interval, ini adalah solution set. So either one. Ingat tak kenapa saya kata dekat 3 ni kena open? Sebab yang ni bahagian denominator So we have x minus 3 in our denominator. So we shouldn't let 3 as our answer. So sebab tu dekat sini kalau dekat 3 kena sentiasa open sajalah. Okay, so now the last question I think. So we have the modulus of x square minus 5x plus 3 less than or equal to 3. So of course you got to open them using the basic definition. So it will be in between -3 and 3. So to solve them, we got to separate them into 2. So we can have x square minus 5x plus 3 less than or equal to 3. And x square minus 5x plus 3 greater than or equal to -3. So it should be something in between, but I cannot solve them directly. So that is why I should separate them into 2. So one over here. Another one is here. So one left, one right hand side. So now on the left hand side, we should solve them until we get the solution. Okay, so x square minus 5x is less than or equal to 0. So in order to solve the quadratic, I have to draw the graph. So let us draw the quadratic graph. Okay, so I do want something to be less than 0. So it should be in between 0 up until 5. So ini kena below the x-axis. Okay, so now on the right hand side, again, I should make sure I bring the -3 to the left hand side and factorize them completely. So we are going to get x minus 2, x minus 3 greater than or equal to 0. Draw the graph. So it will give you 2 and 3. So we want something to be greater than 0. So that means on the left hand side and on the right hand side. So left hand side, -infinity up until 2, 3 up until infinity. Okay, so now we do have the answer on the left hand side. We do have the answer on the right hand side. Now let us focus on this word called the n. So since we are having something called the n, that simply means intersection. So between the two answers, left hand side and right hand side, I have to find out where does it overlap. Okay, so draw the answer. This is 0 up until 5. And then another one, 2, -infinity, 3 until +infinity. So it does overlap from 0 up until 2 and 3 up until 5. Okay, so x in between 0 and 2 or x in between 3 and 5, including 3, 5, including 0, 2. Or in interval form, it should be 0 up until 2, union with 3 up until 5. Okay, so I think that's it for this lecture. Okay, so we have finished chapter 2. So well done everyone, you have already finished 2 chapters. So I'll see you guys in chapter 3. So I'll see you guys this coming Tuesday. Thank you class, bye.